Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are super excited to dive into this amazing patch that we call Carnosine. First, we want to start with our medical disclaimer. Oh, and I'm Nikki McCutchen. I will be one of your co-hosts. Vicky Milad is our other co-host this evening. And our medical disclaimer for tonight is all LifeWave technology is not intended to treat, cure, diagnose, or prevent any dis-ease. If you're pregnant, nursing on medications, please make sure that you check with your medical practitioner first. And with that, we are going to dive into this amazing patch that we call Carnosine. So first, I just wanted to bring up the fact that, so this is the last of the three in the Y age series. And again, like we talked about last week, they're called Y age series because why age? Why age if you don't have to? So that is the whole point. The cool thing is that I hadn't really put it together yet, but all three of the Y-Age series patches, so the Eon, glutathione, and of course the Carnosine Tonight, they all have anti-inflammatory properties. They all have chelation properties, which is giving your body the ability to detoxify heavy metals. So once again, go back and watch our video from detoxification. Embrace that. It is an important part of your body's process to get out the toxins. And so just being able to detoxify from hitting that from multiple different areas in the body, turning on multiple different peptides to allow our body to detoxify is like so exciting to me. I mean, I need all the help I can get with detoxification, and so I love that all three of those do that. It's very fascinating. So let's just think for a minute. If we eat right, if we exercise and get plenty of sleep, we know that we're still going to age. So the question is there anything that we can do to slow down the aging process or even reverse the signs and symptoms of aging? The answer is yes, there is. So this amazing miracle nutrient carnosine that most people have never even heard of is a dipeptide composed of two amino acids, beta-alanine and histidine, and it's something that everyone should be taking. But we shouldn't be taking it in pill form because it's not effective. It's broken down by your stomach acid. And what that means is that it's not going to get into the blood where it needs to go. So once again, like all the other patches that we have talked about and given you details over the past several weeks about, this is why our technology is so much more beneficial because you're turning on those peptides in the body so that they can work from the inside out, doing what God designed and intended them to do. And the exogenous sources of these things are never going to be superior to this technology. So one more little tidbit before I let Vicky take it away is the carnosine is actually found in meat. So if you are a vegetarian, you should potentially look into taking alanine so that you have the support that you need. The carnosine in your, naturally taking it in from foods as well. And also to help the carnosine patch even work better for you as a vegetarian. So Vicky, where would you like to start tonight?
Yes, that's all so true. And I love this patch, and my husband knows this patch is one of my favorites, the carnosine. And I do this with the pressure points, like the placement. So this is comes in the flyer that we have, the brochure that you get in the mail when you get your patches. And all I do is just cut it out and I tape it on the front. So when I go out somewhere, if I'm going to sell this to someone and I don't have a brochure with me that comes with the patches, at least they have all of the placements on the front of the patches. So that's good to know.
Mhm.
So carnosine is one of my favorites, and I love this for working out. I love it for any kind of ache or pain, especially in below the waist. Anything below the waist, muscle related, my go-to is carnosine all the time. So let's see. I am going to start reading my wonderful cards because I have a lot of them. All these amazing benefits. So, carnosine is a natural occurring dipeptide composed of beta alanine and histidine, and it helps with so many different things in the body. So, it helps protect the cells from oxidative damage. It binds to heavy metals, preventing them from generating free radicals in the body, which are unstable molecules. It protects cells from oxidative degradation. Neurological diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, it's very good for that because it, like I said, it helps with muscle. It helps you strengthen those muscles. It inhibits advanced glycation. And glycation is just sugar damage in the body. So where's my other card? I have a whole bunch of these notes. Let me see yeah, glycation. So it's when sugar binds with proteins. And carnosine minimizes this from happening in the body. And that's always good to know. Let's see.
So that would be like anything with insulin or A1C. It's going to help your body be more balanced and produce homeostasis in the body, for those conditions.
Yes, it stabilizes cellular membranes and mitochondrial function, like Nikki was saying, supporting brain health. And this is a major patch in my house because my husband was considering quitting the ministry because he was having such a hard time remembering scripture. And he even went to our head pastor and said, I don't know that I can do this anymore. And he was like, well, just wait, we'll pray about it and everything. And so shortly after that was when the carnosine patch came into our lives, and here we are.
Awesome. I love that. God is good.
Yes, it buffers lactic acid in the muscles. It helps regulate pH, which is, it delays fatigue in the muscles. Like I said, it prevents the glycation process, and it helps prevent stiffening and dysfunction of tissues. So aging and things like diabetes, if someone is a diabetic or they have diabetes, this is a great patch for them to use. My dad loves the carnosine. It protects collagen and elastin from damage. I'm going to keep going on with all of these benefits because this is just one amazing patch, guys. So cardiovascular protection, of course, we want to protect our heart and our brain all the time. It reduces, like I said, it reduces oxidative stress in the body, protects the immune system, cognitive function, memory, mental clarity, mood support, such as anxiety or depression. It also inhibits tumor cell growth, so that's always good to have. Synergizes with antioxidants like vitamin E, C, and glutathione. That's why I love wearing the glutathione with, the Aeon and the carnosine. Let's see, increases focus and alertness, flexibility and balance, strength and endurance, healthy muscle contractions. And that's good, especially as you get older, because I know some people that get Charlie horses when they're sleeping. And I told them before, in the middle of the night, make sure you have a carnosine by your bed, because if you get those Charlie horses, you can just take that carnosine patch and put it right in the center. And usually it subsides within a couple minutes.
That's awesome.
But carnosine really is a miracle peptide that not a lot of people have heard about. So yeah, I mean, when I first heard of it, I knew people were saying carnitine and all, it's a whole bunch of different ways to pronounce it, but it's carnosine. And it just has so many different properties and benefits with it. So it also is helpful for the spectrum. So people with autism, it helps with psychiatric imbalance. So depressive disorders is very good for that. Let's see. I'm trying to see yes. And you did bring up, it detoxifies and removes aluminum from the brain. So that right there would be, sign me up. Just that one benefit, I would say yes.
Yep.
Taking carnosine supplements is not most beneficial, like Nikki was saying, and vegans and vegetarians have low carnosine to definitely use an alanine supplement. So that way the carnosine will work. Yes, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Okay, so hopefully I have deleted my notes except for where you have. So yes, so improves circulation. It also supports healthy motivation, which plays into, like she was talking about, the depression, anxiety, mood disorders, things like that. Improves the flexibility and balance. Improves the liver and pancreas function, the thyroid function, adrenal function. cardiac stress. So when it increases alanine, that's for performance. And when it increases histidine, that's for repair. So when you look at the studies, what it shows is that the physiologic functional status of the pancreas, liver, right kidney, left and right adrenals, hypothalamus, pituitary, and thyroid gland have all had very significant improvements when using the carnosine patch. And just like Vicki mentioned, it helping with oxidative stress, in particular in the brain and in the blood. So that is also very significant. The other thing is the studies show, so Vicki mentioned the muscle strength and the stamina, that what the studies show is that's within the first week. The first week of using the patch is when that shows up. So when you're thinking about muscle loss as we age, that's called sarcopenia. And so as people age, then the carnosine helps to prevent that from happening. So as we age, we lose about 1% of muscle each year. So this has value for any type of exercise program, no matter whether you are young or old. It's going to help your muscles recover, restore, repair, stay strong, healthy, have the stamina that they need. So, and like Vicki was also talking about with the mood disorders, it's actually, so carnosine is actually being looked at as a therapeutic treatment for different types of brain-related disorders. And that is what you need to understand. That's very unusual for a natural nutrient to be studied like that in that world, in that way. And so it means that there is some real significance there to what carnosine is doing in the body. And like she mentioned, it's also very interesting. So in scientific circles, they are looking at the application of in psychiatric disorders. And in the scientific literature, they have pointed out that carnosine should be investigated in stress-related depressive disorders. So all of these things that Vicki is saying, this is all backed up by scientific literature and what's going on in that literature to bring us to, and that's not just within what LifeWave's studying. That's what's out there in the world of carnosine. What's going on with them studying carnosine as a nutrient in the body. So what else do you have for us, Vicki?
I think you covered majority of everything. I just have the acupressure, the points, the placements.
Yes.
I did put the picture in the chat if everybody wants to follow along. So we're going to talk about this. Oops, I got to see where I'm try and get it right. Everything's backwards for me on this. So we're going to talk about this first one that is on the chest, and that is CV17. So that pressure point is good for breathing difficulties like asthma, bronchitis, COPD. It's good for chest pain and tightness, coughing, anxiety, and emotional stress. So any of those issues, if you're dealing with that or somebody, the best place would be to put it on in the middle of the chest, on your sternum. Did you want to add anything to that?
No, that's awesome. Keep going.
Okay. And the next one is GV14. Oops. GV14 or the C7. That's on the back of the neck. And this is a very commonly used point to expel pathogens. It is good for high fevers and your immune system. So it's good for everything. So if it's good for your immune system and to expel pathogens, yes, place it there.
I'm like, can I put one here and here? Like maybe just hit all the spots.
Yes. And then the next one is large intestines 4 on the right hand. And this point is very good for headaches, constipation, pain, any kind of pain. And it's very good to support your immune system as well. Anytime I get like a little tick on my throat or whatever, I will place my glutathione, carnosine, Eon, anything right here because it does help with that. Let's see. The next point is our GV2, which is the tailbone. And this point is very good for bowel issues. And I won't give you graphics, but any kind of bowel issues. It's good to treat hemorrhoids. a prolapsed rectum, constipation, pain in the lower back, and it's also been known to help epilepsy. So that's very good to know.
Mhm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
These points are amazing and they're studied for a reason. You know, these are the clinically tested spots that we have here. You can place them anywhere on the body, but these tested points are for a particular reason. So our bodies need carnosine, you know, in different areas. So that's why. Okay. And then the last one is, oops, let's see. Can you see it?
Yes.
On the right hand, on the inside of the wrist, and that is pericardium 7.
Mhm.
So this, yes, this is a very, very beneficial acupressure point. There are so many different benefits just from this acupressure point alone. So it calms the mind and treats insomnia. It helps with manic behavior, heart palpitations, people that are agitated and can't seem to calm down. It's very good for that. It's good for mental restlessness. This point is also good for sadness, stomach pain, vomiting, red eyes, dry throat, and tongue issues. So anybody that has any tongue issues, maybe swallowing, that's a good point to use as well, right there on the wrist. And then it influences cooling heat that affects the heart. So I learn something new every time I do these.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's fantastic. I love it. Yeah. So, like Vicki had talked about before, that it is very powerful in improving brain function, specifically short-term memory and long-term memory, even the speed at which your brain processes information. So, and this is also in our studies being proven that people over 60, so that was all in the test, they were all over 60. It also showed that their improved mental awareness and alertness was better. So all of these things to say for us to think about is how normally when we age or when people talk about aging, they just think it's a common thing to become forgetful, to say, okay, I know my body's going to get weaker and not be able to process things as quickly. And really now we do not have to submit to that line of thinking anymore. There is no reason for us to think that way when we have access to this amazing technology. So, like Vicki also talked about with the helping with the brain, so carnosine has actually been shown to reduce beta amyloid protein. I speak slowly when I'm saying these big words. Which is closely associated, like she talked about, Alzheimer's disease. But of course, we're not making any medical claims because this was just in studies using animals. So the animal studies don't always translate to human studies, but of course, it's a very valuable piece of information to know. So let's just think about to our athletes. Okay. So we talked a lot about patching and aging, but let's talk about our athletes. So imagine being an athlete and having the ability to have your brain process information more quickly. If you're able to do that as an athlete, that could be the difference between a decent player and a great player. And so, of course, that's helping your brain. Of course, we talked about all of the things with the muscle, the lactic acid removal, and, the recovery time, all of those things that it's going to help very high athletes be able to perform better. But when you combine that with the ability to think quicker, it truly does change the game for anyone who's performing at a high athletic level as well. So another study, showing that carnosine, when it's fed to mice, there's a 30 to 40% increase in lifespan. Okay, that alone would make carnosine worth taking. But the scientists also found that the mice were not showing any signs of aging until the very end of their life. So if we put this in human terms, it would be as if we lived until we're 125, but we looked like we were 30 until we were about 120. So what was the reason for this? So scientists later found out that it was the carnosine was protecting the telomeres, which protects the genes from changing to an older state. So restoring cognition in those over the age of 60 was caused due to time. So it's able to restore that cognition when that's the cause due to time. But also there's a lot of little hints in there of other, all the things that carnosine can benefit. Something else you want to add, Vicki?
Yes, and it is very, very like it's so useful for me to have the carnosine. I am not kidding you. I experiment with all of these patches and I place them wherever. The placement for me that works the best, especially with athletic performance, is stomach 36. So I will put one on each leg, on days that I'm going to work out. Another great placement for me is the tailbone. So the lower back, only because my legs, if they get sore, both legs that way, I get it on the tailbone and I can cover all angles.
So
Get
what
it
do you
from the front,
notice?
get it from the back.
Yeah. What do you notice when you place it on? So stomach 36 is not in the packet that she showed you on there. It's on the outside of your legs. So if you take your knee and then go down just a hair, there's like a divot right there, like at the top of your tibia, right? Oh, no, that's not right. That's something else. I'm not thinking of the right one.
I'm going to place it in. Yeah, there we go. I will screenshot it and place it in the chat.
Okay, I think I might have been telling you all wrong. I hope that's not the case. I'll have to edit it from the video.
No, you were right. You were right.
I was right. Okay.
It's 4 fingers from the knee. Okay.
Okay, so it is from the knee. Okay. She's going to put a picture in there for you. So, so what do you notice using that point?
I find that it gives me a lot more energy, like so much endurance when it comes to working out. I feel like I literally could do anything.
Wow.
So
I'm going to have to try that. I didn't know about that.
Yes.
It's awesome.
And it really is very hot. And I don't wear it there all the time because if I ran around like that, I don't know that I would ever go to sleep. My husband would be like, "Woman, just go to bed."
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And another great tip is I use carnosine when patching for sciatica pain. So anybody that has sciatica pain, I always use carnosine. So there's carnosine, I use the X39, and then, we also have the ice wave. But carnosine is very, very helpful. And you have to move it on those points to kind of get some movement to see which placement is best for them.
So you'll move it down from the hip and then like on the outside of the thigh and then down closer to the knee, you'll move it to get the movement and then go back through and figure out where they feel like the most help is.
And because I had my bicep surgery, I had some sciatica pain just rear its head, and I've never had any sciatica pain, but this kind of was because I could only sleep on my right side, and I'm a left-sided sleeper, so it kind of threw everything off for me. And I tried patching everything. Nothing would relieve the pain and discomfort until I started experimenting with this carnosine.
Wow.
So I start with the tailbone and I go over to the middle of the glute muscle. And I actually take it down in the middle of the glute, and then I'll take it below the glute, and then I kind of go over and then down the leg. So that is what helped me so much. And I don't have that pain anymore. So thank God.
That's awesome. And if you poke like on your, your IT band, so down your thigh, if you kind of poke around there's usually a spot kind of in the center, on the side that you're like, oh, ding, 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 ding.
There it is.
And that hurts. And so just poke around. You'll find it. You'll find it. So, and also just know you don't have to know all of these things to use the patches. The biggest thing is just getting them on the body. They are going to turn on, the carnosine. It is going to turn on that. These are just extra things to play around with and to have access to if someone wants more detailed information about all the benefits of carnosine. So, so I also wanted to talk about, there is an independent cardiologist that just recently published a study in PubMed on using the carnosine patches. And if you want to look it up, the study is called Transcutaneous Phototherapy Improves Left Ventricular Systolic Function. Don't make me
Wow.
say it again. I can message me later and I'll type it out. But yes, so this is all on PubMed. The carnosine patches were used to improve the squeeze function of the heart. And the results that they got for this was in only 30 minutes.
Wow.
So even if so he was plastering the wall of the heart with all kinds of carnosine patches, but he's also said you don't have to do that. Of course, Bester, I knew you were going to tell me to type it in there. Okay, I will. Give me a minute. But he said even if you have heart issues, if you wanted to use maybe one or two carnosine patches, you could. But with the test, he was plastering the wall of the heart with that carnosine patch. So also, I actually have a friend who has all kinds of heart issues. So the scientific term of that squeeze function of the heart is called ejection fraction. So she started on the patches. 30 days later, she went back in and had another echocardiogram, and her ejection fraction improved. So this study is showing in 30 minutes. So for someone to go back in 30 days, they should get improvements. And my friend definitely did that. So anyway, I'm going to go a little bit over more of that here in a minute, but he had talked about how, particularly in muscle tissue, like what Vicki was talking about, having the antioxidation properties and the glycation properties. As Vicki also said, which this is crazy, it gets rid of tumor cells and has anti-tumor activity. That's amazing. Rejuvenates and protects aging cells. So when we're talking about mitochondrial function, so the mitochondria are the cellular engines of each of our cells, and that's what controls the energy metabolism. So the more ATP you have, which is the energy, then it allows you to have younger and more vitality for everything that you're doing. And so that's what's helping to get created by using the carnosine patch. So activating that carnosine will directly benefit mitochondrial function. So here is another point that he made in his study, is that the improvement in the ejection fraction was so astonishing because they will give people medication for years to get the very same results that he got with the carnosine patch in 30 minutes when the heart function was low. So years worth of medication that this patch changed in 30 minutes. Like legit, y'all. Anybody with heart stuff, please put on this patch. Please put on this patch. Anyway, so truly phenomenal. Yeah. What else you got, Vicki? And I will see if I can type out that study in the chat.
I'm so thankful for David Schmidt because he's such an intelligent man. And whenever he's on the Zooms or we have a Zoom with him, I get so excited because he's a man of knowledge and wisdom. And I'm like, I just get my pen and my paper, or I'm screenshotting, I'm typing notes. Like, it's just so much information. So I really think a lot of reason, not besides the aging process, but carnosine really is something that we need. And I don't know about you, like I've just recently heard about like the glutathione, the IV drip, that kind of thing. And we hear about inflammation, but we don't hear about like carnosine for brain health or heart health. So I'm thankful for him and, his knowledge and his studying, him putting in the work so that way he can share his information with us because, it really, really helps each and everything that you have going on in your life. And, another website that David Schmidt likes to use is sciencedirect.com. That is where he gets a lot of his studies from as well. And PubMed obviously is our go-to for that, but carnosine is just amazing, and it really, really, really does help for the brain. Another great tip is, I know we have a brain balance that some people use, and they use the Eon with it, but some people use the carnosine. So it really depends. Like if the Eon is not working and you're placing it, on your head, then try the carnosine because it could mean that your brain needs more of that carnosine.
Absolutely. Yeah. And one other thing we forgot to mention is that carnosine is actually found in eye tissue as well. So if you have any kind of eye things going on, definitely want to add the carnosine to what you're doing.
Very good.
Yeah. Anything else?
I'm just trying to think of all my
Type in there that.
all my papers. I got all my information. Is somebody asking a question?
No, I don't think so.
I think Linda was making a comment.
Well, I
Miss Linda,
can't
you want to
see,
say something? Sorry.
I just want to mention that elevated levels of carnosine is also very good for diabetic complications, but specifically the prevention and treatment of cataracts.
Mhm. Right. Yes,
Wow.
absolutely. Absolutely huge for sure. Yeah, any kind of eye thing. So is going to be good because all it's eye tissue. It's in the eye tissue. So yeah,
Vicky
Very-
mentioned the brain balancing, and I do the 6 carnosines or the 5 carnosines with the brain balancing. I use
awesome.
that.
That's good.
That's awesome.
That's very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I remember
Yes.
your names. No, it's
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you all so much. We will stay on for anybody that wants to do questions and all of that. So, but please get back to the person who invited you to the call tonight. Go to our website, patchtheway.com, scroll down to deep dive, and you can then go into and listen to some of the videos that I pulled some of this information. It's all David Schmidt directly talking. And so you can find all of that there. So Patch the Way is a great resource under deep dive. Please get back to the person who invited you to the call tonight. Tell them that you are ready to get started. There is nothing in the world that does across the board what all of our technology does. We are truly leading the way in regenerative health and just all kinds of benefit, reversing age. And so with that, we pray blessing over each and every one of you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Y'all
God
stay on
bless.
and we can answer questions. Yeah.